So it's just another edge, another thing you can add to your arsenal. It's really about knowledge and education, though, right? Something you can
Mhm.
add to your arsenal, so you can be prepared when you enter these markets, right?
Absolutely. So, do you ever look at the VIX when you're trading, or how do you use the VIX in your strategy?
Oh, I because there's so many. I don't really use the VIX. Like if I see something happening in the ES futures market, which is the S&P 500 futures, I will sometimes hop in a quick option play on the VIX. If I see substantial movement or hitting critical mass at a key level, I'll hop in a quick VIX trade. But there's so many other things that you could use that kind of operate as inverse. There's a lot of reverse indexes and things that you could do. The VIX is one.
Mm.
And then a lot of commodities also run inverse to the dollar as well. So there's a lot of ways where you can kind of hedge your bets and stuff like that. So I kind of use it as a hedge in the futures market is what I'm looking at.
I feel you. No, I feel you there. Can you name a couple of those commodities that you use as an inverse to the regular stock market or the equity markets?
Well, one in the futures market, I would
I
look
know
at
a
the
couple people
Z.
use.
Go ahead.
No, you got it.
No, I actually use the bonds. The bonds. I use the bond market as kind of understanding the trajectory of the market because the bonds is basically what has the market priced in and how they start pricing these rate hikes into the market, and it runs inverse to the S&P 500 pretty much generally. You do have some divergence obviously sometimes, but generally speaking, when the 30-year bond is, which was our primary trade, the UB and the ZB. You can pull that up on trading view so you can see the inverse chart. It kind of runs inverse to the S&P 500, and you can actually see the 100-year or the 30-year bond starting to price that 100-point basis rate hike into the market currently. Try backslash UB.
Mm.
There you go. That's the ultra bond. And
Oh,
that's kind of how
you
I
want to share your
use
screen?
that.
I got you.
Yeah, sure.
Taylor Weeks, thank you for checking in. What's going on, fam? There's no pressure.
All right, let's see
I
if
know a
I
lot of
can.
people have been trading gold during this
Yeah,
time.
gold
What
is
do you
gold is gold
see?
is a good marker. Gold is a good marker. Oil's been a great marker to kind of have a nice hedge against the rest of the things. But like you said, pretty much anything that's backed in the dollar. Let's see if I can get this.
Oh yeah,
Or just
I think
can you,
they caught them boys. J.P. Morgan are one of them manipulating all them the metal markets. I mean, huge fines. People are they're manipulating people's savings, their livelihood. This is and it's just one week you hear about it, the next week it's nothing.
I mean, I agree with you, and yes, the game is rigged, guys, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, the game is absolutely rigged, but that does not mean you cannot be successful in the markets. Um,
Oh hell yeah!
there's still plenty of room for to make money. So this is a 30-minute chart, but let's go out to a larger time frame. Can you see the screen? Okay.
Yep.
My strategy may look a little strange to people, but I primarily trade oh wow, oops. I primarily trade the strat and volume profile. That's why you kind of see my all my lines looking a little crazy. But what we're seeing on the weekly time frame is this candle right here. That's what I would call the market adjusting to the rate hike that we're about to see. What you've got is this box right here. Let's see if I can add a quick drawing. What you got is this box right here. That's basically a box of consolidation, right? We had this big move. So this is basically what you're looking at when the S&P 500 was going up. This was going down, right? So we're starting to see right now is this market start to rebound. So the 30-year bond market is about to rebound. If we can break the outside of these candles and bounce off of these levels right here, and we should see a revisit of this support level. However, what that means for the bond market is we're probably going to see 100, maybe 150,
Mm,
possibly 200 point rate. I'm just telling you what the charts is saying after being a bonds trader before the end of the year. I think they may go 100 and then 50 and 50, but I think they're going to be very aggressive. And this is what you kind of see when you look at the bond market, because as this market is going down, the rates are flat, right? So when they start to climb, the inverse happens in the rest of the market, right? So this looks like, what does that look like to you? Does it look like we're about to head to the upside, right?
mm,
I mean, you could tell what consolidation looks like. So
mm-hmm.
basically, once we break that consolidation pattern, we're probably going to take off to the upside, which means the rates are going to continue to increase.
Yeah, I mean that's a clear long wick rejecting the downside, followed by a green doji candle, followed by a bullish
Right.
and gold candle.
Like that's pretty damn clear to me.
Right. So that, but what that means for the market, because this is the ultra bond, 30-year bond, what that means for the market is these things, the rate hikes are being priced into the market in real time, guys. And this is the most liquid market in the world. I recommend, if you need to at least consider looking at the interest rates. And actually, Mr. Weeks in the chat, he's one of the good guys that follows the interest rates in the markets really, really well as well. So I definitely think it should be considered when you guys are making your trades. And this involves crypto as well. So definitely really important to always take into account stuff like that. But that's definitely what I see, and I think we're being priced into the market. It's going to get, that obviously is not necessarily good for investors and stocks and things like that, because we're going to see a equilibrium. We're going to get to an equilibrium point. So, but it's a great opportunity to start investing and start small positions in good companies. Start buying small positions in great companies, because the price is going to be cheap.
Absolutely. I just want to show people this one thing, and I've got a question for
Okay, yeah,
you
on here.
because we saw oil come down and consolidate like we've seen for the past couple of weeks and months. Do you think the next CPI print will be or the next inflation print will be higher, or do we plateau for a little while at around 9.1, 9.0, 9.2, around the same area? Or do you think we're going to move up 9.5, 9.7 the
I
next print?
I I'm I'm of the belief that I think we'll plateau for a bit, and they may. I want everybody to be clear, man. I think we need to try to think long term when we're talking about how long inflate. 10% inflate, 9.1. Let's call it 10%.
Mm,
Is That's pretty significant inflation. What it means for your dollars in your savings accounts, and what you spend every day at the pumps, right? Like, it's very significant. So I don't want people to just be sleeping on, like, oh, it's only 9%. Like, we're definitely going to continue to go up, like, right. So
yeah,
we're definitely going to continue to go up, but it may not be all of a sudden. It's going to take a while. We printed money for almost 4 years straight. At some point you got to pay that bill, and unfortunately that bill is going to fall on the consumer, right?
as it usually does. As it usually does. These things hardly ever affect the business owner or the mega business owner. It does affect small business owners. I'm talking about the mega corporation like Walmart. Uh, they're hardly getting affected. They might have to lay a few people off. But we're seeing inflation rates of 120 something percent. I think in Turkey, it
Yeah,
was ridiculous. Turkey, oh my, like 54% inflation
yeah,
year over year. Uh, we just saw Sri Lanka, the collapse of an entire
and
country.
the and the bank run happening in China right now, people are basically saying they're not going to pay their mortgages just because they haven't had access
Mm-hmm.
to the bank. But the banks obviously still want their money, right? Like, so they're like, we're not going to pay our mortgages. So I don't want people to get the wrong idea. Like, America is America, right? We may see a little less than the rest of the world, but it's going to get pretty tough. It's going to get pretty tough state south financially for a lot of people. I see a wave of layoffs coming in the market. It's going to be really, really interesting. I think, like I said, I think we'll see 200. I think we'll see a 200 basis point hike before the end of the year. And whether or not we plateau between 10 and 12% inflation, I think that depends on what Mr. Powell's doing, man. Like, he the man of the hour. He the most powerful man on the planet. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think it really depends on what he does after, the next, say, 100 or 150 basis point hikes we're going to see here pretty soon.
Yeah, I agree with that entirely. I agree with that entirely. I think China is going to be leading the way, in the future. So I'm keeping my eye and ear down on the streets of China and Taiwan.
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, how do you see Russia and Ukraine and China and Taiwan? Do you think they will those two timelines will converge and we'll see a point where Russia is helping China and China is helping Russia? Do you think China is like ready for that scale of global domination, as some have been calling for a while?
That's an interesting question. Um, I I see a lot of international and global instability. I do think Putin in Russia, I think Putin is probably the smartest man on the planet. Elon might have the most money, but Putin is a chess master. He's a brilliant, brilliant war strategist. He's a brilliant economist. What he's done with the ruble this year, how he kind of checkmated the EU and some of those sanctions and sidestepping. I mean, he's probably like, if there's a Dr. Evil, he's definitely the Dr. Evil, right? But not somebody you want to go against. You know what I'm saying? Not somebody you want to piss off and go
Man,
against for sure. But I do think there is an alliance between Russia and China. They obviously have considerable ties, military ties, oil ties, production ties, commodity ties. I think China is primed to be the next world leader. I think China will continue to thrive. I'm curious to see how they're going to handle this bank run
Mm,
because they still have some COVID issues there. There's still a lot going on in China. They just got off of the lockdown. They shut their whole country down again for COVID. So China's got a lot of pressure on them. But I do think they have the best workforce in the world. And as we see the American dependents go towards a more autonomous type of environment in the workspace, because that's what we're going to see next is robots and AI. And, we'll probably all be working in the metaverse, right? But I mean, seriously. So, like, as we move that way, China's gonna probably be, the top manufacturers, the top producers of food, et cetera, et cetera. That's kind of
yeah.
how I see the China thing playing out. I think the Ukraine war games, whatever you want to call it. I'll say it again. I don't think the U.S. or the UN or the United Nations or NATO or the EU, I don't think they're winning this battle. Putin declared victory like a month ago. I don't even know why we're even still talking about it. Uh,
despite popular belief, the NATO is not indestructible, people. Okay,
I mean,
NATO
like,
is
but yeah,
fallible.
it wasn't really once they pulled their card on the sanctions and stuff, and Putin checkmated them because they needed their oil to survive. He would have had the entire European continent begging him for oil, and like it was really over before it started. Everything else was just propaganda for the people that's not paying attention. Like, even now, everything else outside of that was just propaganda. But if you understand chess and you understand war strategies, uh, that fight has been over for a long time because they're not energy independent over there, and that's why we're people in the mainland America are gonna take more of the brunt of that hit because the U.S. is supplementing all of that Russian oil, and we're giving them oil at discounted rates and paying for stuff that we shouldn't be paying for, like the American taxpayer have always done, kind of fund the world. So
Yep.
that's my thought on that. I don't know. It's probably unpopular, but I don't really care. So it's whatever.
Absolutely. We care about the truth, not popularity over
I
here.
mean, that's my opinion. It ain't. Maybe it's not the truth. That's just my opinion, but it's mine.
Your truth.
It's you can't have it. You know what I'm saying? It's just
Yeah, that's your truth.
YouTube can borrow it for a little bit, but
I just want to give a quick touch on the digital yuan. Now, we just saw, after weeks of deliberation, I've heard months of Russia talking about, we're looking into Bitcoin payments, we're looking into crypto payments, we're looking into building our own Bitcoin exchange. And now, all of a sudden, they have completely and utterly banned Bitcoin, uh, China style, if I do say so, very much China style. Now, I want to put this little tinfoil hat on right now and say maybe someone's whispering in the ear of Russia and India, we are not going to play around with this Bitcoin stuff. It's going to either be the digital yuan or you guys are on your own. Now, this is not, I have not confirmed this with any leader of the Chinese state, okay? This has not been
the
any,
communist Chinese government. You mean?
you know what I'm saying? I'm not, this has not been confirmed. This is pure and utter speculation. Do not go
Pure
make
speculation.
trades based off of this information. But it's very, this ban is very China-like, and we see what happens after any country that bans Bitcoin. The interest suddenly skyrockets. We saw them try to ban it in, I think it was Nigeria. The price of Bitcoin in Nigeria skyrocketed while the price everywhere else was the same. It was like ridiculous. Uh, so I think Russia banning Bitcoin in the long term is only going to bring more Russians to Google what's Bitcoin. Why are they banning it? Because as soon as the government tells you not to do something, there's always going to be that group of people that are going to go, like me, and do the exact opposite.
Right.
COVID vaccine. But
So I will go down the rabbit hole with you, but I like to refer to history as our best lesson. So I don't know if you remember last summer when all of the crypto markets slid like crazy because China started dumping because they announced their ban on cryptocurrency mining, et
hmm
cetera, right? That is the history part. Now we're seeing Russia do it. But what happened was a lot of those cryptocurrency companies, a lot of the firms that were doing the mining, most of what they have done is move to Europe and North America. So they are still mining crypto. They are still participating. They're just not doing it on China soil. And what I call this, man, this is what I call strong arm, right? This is when they're trying to strong arm people. And this is why I tell people, like, when you're talking about crypto, you got to be a crypto hoarder, period.
mm,
A crypto hoarder, yes, a crypto hoarder, because what they're doing is they're trying to control the market. And because of how crypto is built, it's open source and the transactions are transparent. So you know where your money resides. And that's very, very important when you talk about sound money, which we don't have right now. And Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, the blockchain can be our salvation, or it could also be our detriment
mhm.
because of really poor investors selling their investment too soon. We could really control a large portion of the metaverse, the blockchain, and the power will belong to the people, which is where it should reside. But if we keep capitulating to these governments and to the banks and to these places that want to tell you, oh, it's banned. If you can have access to the internet, there's a way for you to get cryptocurrency. There's not really a way for them to ban you from attaining it because it's digital. You could have it on a hard wallet and you could bury it in the back of your yard. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just like gold and silver, as long as you have your keys, it's in a hard wallet, offline, air gapped, or whatever. As long as you have your keys, it's your wallet. Nobody can take it from you. That's how I feel about it. I feel like they're just strong arming people. just like China did, they scared everybody into getting out of the game, selling off all their stuff, manipulating the markets.
Mm.
And it's the same thing that Russia's doing. And Russia is trying to consolidate their power. They don't want their regular citizens to be having access to things like cryptocurrencies where they can build wealth and ultimately challenge the status quo. This is why I say crypto hoarder, crypto cadence, man. Like, we got to understand the game that we're playing. This is chess, not checkers.
And the lack of education costs our people millions upon trillions of dollars, man. Like
Every
eh,
day.
every day, the I saw the video of the black guy, the brother who was screaming to buy just $1 worth of Bitcoin back in what 2011. How many
He's rich
people listen to him, dude? The guy's like, I saw him on Altcoin Daily the other day. The dude is living lavish. Okay,
Yeah.
there's only 21 million people. You need to be not worried about trading Bitcoin. You need to be worried about how do I get as many as I effing can. Okay, you should be like I was looking to sell my car. Okay, I'm gonna keep it a bean with you, bro. I was looking
Hey, facts.
crazy.
I actually did. I had a truck. I actually did sell my truck. Like, I sold my truck and I bought crypto. Like, what I kind of built my life was, I'm trying to build a life that I don't have to vacation from. And it's possible with crypto, man, but you gotta, like I said, crypto hoarder, right? There's ways where you can take loans out against your crypto. You can put it in DeFi, make flexible money every day, passive income. Crypto is the wave. I don't care if it's down or up. I've been making money in a down market like every day, and my man, I already know you are too, bro. Like, so, like, you can't tell me, oh, the market's down, you can't make any money, bro. We do it all day, every day. So it's just a matter of like being disciplined about it and making the decision and putting the action behind it, man. I
I
sold
heard
I
the same thing
sold my
about
trade.
NFTs. NFTs.
You know what I'm saying? I sold my joint. I sold everything.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I started investing. I started investing all of that cash, man, and it's paid off, man.
Of course, bro. It's the self education is the most important part. Where this is not about uh, this is not about fucking flipping $100 into 1,000. This is about having money that the government, that your kids will be able to have. The government will have no influence over. The money that you
Right.
pass down in a trust, if it's in U.S. dollars, that is getting devalued at 9.1%, quote unquote, 9.1% year over year.
I mean,
Okay,
if you wanna call it 9, I feel like it's closer to like 17, but who's keeping.
man. All right, I'm gonna keep it from the street, from the bodegas. All right, I'm gonna do the bodega indicator. A steak, beans, and rice platter used to be $10 flat. Steak, beans, and rice. The steak, beans, and rice is now $12. That right there is 20%. Okay, that's 20% right there off that.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
if you
we ain't even gonna talk about gas, right? We ain't
man,
talking
two
about gas.
years ago, gas was $1.79. A
Facts.
dollar 79, bro. I work at a gas station. I know this. A dollar
Right.
79, and we got folks coming in like giving me quarters to get to their job, like quarters. Like this is, and the housing market has yet to come down. And thank God I just remembered that. Can we talk about the housing market
Yeah.
real quick? Real quick.
So, great time to be a seller.
Mm.
Great time to be a seller. If you have some property, it's also a great time to be an owner and have rental property. A real estate friend of mine told me years ago when I first bought my first house, he told me that the best time to rent your properties out is during a recession because people tend to sell their houses. A lot of times they tend to lose their houses, foreclosures, things like that. So they're looking for rental properties until the market comes back and they can make another investment, long-term investment like a house. So what I mean, if people need to understand what the interest rates due to these 30-year, 50-year mortgages. When they're talking about buying a house, I think it's a terrible time to buy a house. I think it's a great time to be renting properties out and making passive income. Interest rates are going to continue to go up. We're talking about another 100-point basis, right? You're talking about, let's take a $230,000 house, which is actually ridiculous in America. Like, you can't even find that. I read an article last week that said the average rent in New York City was $5,000 a
Jesus.
month. And we're talking, we already know if you're in New York, dude, that's a box in New York. Like you don't even have like your own kitchen for 5,000. You know what I'm saying? So, let's just take like half of that, right? Like say $250,000 house. As the interest rates go up, you got to remember these things are priced into your loans, right? So, as those rates go up, the longer you're going to be in that house paying for it. To put it in layman terms, you're talking about $30,000 to $50,000 in interest payments that you're going to be adding to, like, say, a $200,000 house. On top of the fact that houses are selling at an all-time high, right? So you're probably going to overpay for your house, and then you're going to get a terrible rate and be stuck in it for the next 30 years, right? 2 years ago was 2 to 3 years ago, really any time before that was the time to be buying. Now is the time to be selling. I mean, the name of the game is buy low, sell high, right, bro?
Yep.
Like, I mean,
Yep.
so if you got a couple of properties and you want to hit a lick right now, now's the time to be selling or renting it out and just, keeping that passive income going. But yeah, neighborhood around here, we're seeing for sale signs go up. And that's, like I said, we're going to see layoffs. We're going to see, probably a bank run, a mini bank run. I think probably another smaller mortgage run where people start, getting foreclosed on their house. I don't know. Hell, in my opinion, a lot of the smaller mom and pop stores that shut down in the city. I live in Atlanta, but that shut down in the city from COVID. I still see a lot of commercial property available, so I think that'll also increase. I think we'll see a lot more vacant commercial property. Like I said, man, I want people to kind of understand, like, ain't nobody gonna tell you we're in a recession. They don't want to say the word. They're gonna, in a year from now, they'll say, oh, we're in a recession and we've been in a recession. Well, the charts indicate we're in a recession. We're looking at another 100 to 200 point basis rate point hike within the year, which is only 5 months left. So just keep that in mind, but we're thinking more long term. So this could continue into the next 2 years, and I kind of want everybody to kind of wrap their head around that when they're making their investment. That's why you don't just ape in the shit, right? Like,
Please say that again. Please say 2 years again.
Yeah, it's good. Before we get back, okay, let me just say this. Before we get back to 4,000 and 70,000 Bitcoin and 5,000 Ethereum, right? Like, we're looking at, we got a long way to go in the chart. So what people don't understand is when we just run like that, like we ran with the S&P and crypto, when you run like
3,000 to 69,000.
You have a lot of gaps. And much like the universe and everything else, the market hates these gaps. So when you run up real quick, you leave a lot of gaps behind you. And what the market has to do, it has to fill those gaps. So a lot of times, and that's why I say, you could tell some of this stuff is priced in, because the market makers are anticipating playing those gaps, right? Like they're anticipating the market coming back down to the vacant void areas where it missed going up the first time. So I want people to understand that consolidation phase. And this is really the first red year for crypto, right? We haven't really seen a red year. If you want to pull the yearly chart up on Bitcoin, you can see like this is the first red candle we've really truly had in a retracement. So I think everybody needs to be mindful. Like this could be an entirely down year, but that doesn't mean, back out of your investments. Yeah, it just means opportunity, right? Like, but this is the first really red year that crypto has had. And it's the first red year we've had in a while. But like I said, 2 years before we get back to those, unless something drastic happens. I don't see anything, the next 2 to 3 years, we need to be looking long-term at your investments. And really, you should be like everybody else and be in the accumulation phase. And as we're going down these levels, you need to be accumulating. So when we do get back to those higher end levels, you go buy you a yacht or something, right?
Yep. The Rothschild Corporation is stacking on GBTC right now. I've been watching it. They've been increasing their stack. The Rothschild Corporation knows what's good. The Rockefellers just said that Bitcoin could make a comeback like Amazon did in the 90s. And this guy said, H2, brother said, only 10% of houses are under 300,000. And I was watching a Blockworks podcast. They said stock prices have only been this expensive 7% of their history. Even after the drop that we've seen, stock prices have only been this high for 7% of their history. Like the PE ratios, they're still so overvalued.
Overvalued. Yeah, overvalued.
Overvalued. It's not. It still doesn't. That these valuations still don't make sense. You saw Netflix come down, and we're about to see these earnings on Netflix.
And
Man,
it just ran. Didn't it just run? Didn't it run last week or this week?
man, this it's just I don't even. This stuff is just ridiculous. These people
It
think
is.
that a bottom is gonna happen like just like this because we saw one cool weekly candle give us a nice little 6%. It's not gonna. It just don't work like that. You can't fight the Fed.
Yeah, you can't. You cannot fight the Fed, man. That's absolutely true. So, yeah, dude, that's absolutely right, man. And it's crazy. I kind of want people to wrap their heads around it. We saw a ridiculous market go crazy for about 3 years, and it can't just do that all the time. It has to cool down. You have to have cool down moments. You have to have drawback moments. You know what I'm saying? So this is really healthy, I feel, for crypto, and it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity to get into a lot of places, but there's a lot of stuff that's overvalued, man. I could go down the list and tell you what I think is overvalued, but that's once again just my opinion. But at the same time, there are a lot of value stocks that are available at decent prices. That's where the volume profile comes in for like my strategy. Because you can see where the money is sitting at. You can see where the money resides, and ultimately, that's the name of the game: is go where the money resides, right? Yeah.
Yeah. One last thing. I just want to let folks know that in 2020 of March, the Ethereum price was approximately,
300,
well, the low was
$42.
$88. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but the low of the March crash, one of the lows was $88. All right, that was 2 years ago, $88, and we ran up from 88 to 4,800 and
800.
yeah, 4,850. So you have to
But
put
it took 2 years to
together
get there,
that
right? It took 2 years to get there.
2 years. And the people that have stayed invested, even after this 80 something percent drawdown, are still over 10x in profit. Okay. Even after this
Exactly.
70, 80, 75% drawdown from 4,900 to $1,000, they got in at 88, $100. Okay. You, right now, you listening to this video are so early. You're like 1999, and you just saw the first little crack in the charts. And
Of the internet.
imagine panic selling the internet in 1999. Like, do not panic sell. Like, don't panic sell the greatest investment of your lifetime, of
Yeah.
any lifetime. Like, Bitcoin solves the 100-year long problem of sound, thousands of year long problem of sound money. It separates money and the government. That there is no entity that can control Bitcoin from this point on. Like, this is just something that I want to stress to folks every video that I have.
Yeah. True. And get your money off exchanges. Get a hard wallet. Absolutely.
And uh, they're not sponsoring, but Live Ledger, get you a goddamn Live Ledger, get you a Tracer. I don't care if you have to get a Trust wallet. Get you a Trust wallet. Okay, download the app. Get off of Coinbase. Okay, Coinbase has said in
Coinbase is they are raising the red flag, dude. I don't know what people need to see with
oh my
Coinbase.
god,
They
dude.
are raising the red flag. I don't know what. I'm just waiting for them to just hijack everybody's cash.
They told you, they said
But,
in case of bankruptcy, we will liquidate all crypto positions. Like
yeah,
they said this to you on a earnings call. Like this was you they told you that. So why are you still there?
yeah.
I don't
I
care
would
that.
definitely get off of Coinbase, get a hard wallet, or even get a desktop wallet. Those are things, right? Um, but yeah, Coinbase is
Red
no.
flags all over the place.
Yeah, they're just waving they're warning everybody. And the way I see it is if you still got your money on Coinbase after they told you, we told you, everybody's telling you, you still got your money on Coinbase, after that, it's on you.
Good luck, man. Good
Good luck.
luck.
You don't deserve it anyway. Like if you like everywhere you look, the Coinbase is saying, hey, No more Coinbase Pro. We're liquidating our what with the marketing affiliate program.
Yep.
They're laying off 20% of their staff.
Come
Like,
on, man. What else do they have to do?
hello. They already told you they were going to liquidate 3 months ago. They were going to liquidate everybody's positions if they filed for it. So,
Okay,
I mean,
come on, folks.
yeah, I mean, come on, get off of Coinbase, guys.
No more
If you're still on Coinbase, it's on you at this point. Okay, that's all I gotta say about that. All right, they can sue me, whatever. Whatever. I never liked Coinbase from the jump. There's several different ways to move your money. I used to use it as a conduit in between my banks and whatnot, but after that first couple times and waiting 3 days and 6 days, and then they lost some of my Ethereum. I was kind of paranoid from crypto.com, so I just kind of hopped off everything, went hard and cold and air gapped, bro.
Do you guys think the NFT market has bottomed out or will go lower? I think that there is a lot of room for things to go to the downside. There's still a lot of if you go to cryptoquant.com or cryptoquant, type it in Google, cryptoquant leverage ratio, the leverage is still trading near all-time fucking highs, okay? People have not learned their lesson. People are still out leveraging 50x Bitcoin longs, Bitcoin shorts. The leverage is at near all-time high. So I think that we have yet to see the great big liquidation everyone's talking about. I think the bottom is not in yet. But if you want to purchase and you know that you're going to hold this land for the next 5-10 years, we've seen Atari enter the space. We've seen how many other companies have entered into the sandbox? There's like Balenciaga.
Tons.
Like, it's
Gucci,
ridiculous.
Balenciaga, yeah, you have tons. I don't think that's going to slow down.
No.
Here's the deal. Like I said, let's emphasize this word, crypto hoarder. You have to understand that what you're buying on the blockchain in the metaverse probably won't be truly realized in its potential for the next 10 years. I think you got to understand, like, we're like, if you're invested in the metaverse, you got, some property set up, you're ahead of the curve, right? Like, you're way ahead of the curve. These companies are coming in because they want to buy it from you. So what they do is they drive the market down because you need the money more than they do. And they come buy it from you up at pennies on the dollar at discount prices because they can crash and thrash the market at will. But this is why I turned like crypto hoarder. Like, you have to, like, they want my crypto, they gotta come take it. Period. Like,
long term, the metaverse ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, long term it's not going anywhere. But like in the short term, yeah, they're gonna try to drive the bottom down to the price. They're gonna go lower. When you think they ain't gonna go any lower, they're gonna take it even further lower just because they want to. They're shaking people out of the market because they want people to sell. Yeah. You have to understand how the market makers work, and they, unfortunately, the big dogs run crypto too. But there is still room for us in the crypto space where this is just not the case in the regular U.S. economy. We could still control it. Like, no matter how much we do today, we'll never have enough shares of Microsoft to be, relevant. You know what I'm saying? But there's an opportunity where we can get into some of these.
Absolutely. BlackRock and Vanguard own 98% of the stock market. Okay, 98% of all shares are owned by BlackRock and Vanguard. Crypto is I think owned by 11%, or it was 4 or 11% of the world population owns any crypto. Right. So compare 98% to 11%. That's just one of the numbers.
It would be a lot more if people would quit selling their shit.
And it would be, everything. A whole lot of things would be different if people stopped selling.
Yeah, we would be playing a different game. Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing I want to talk about the NFT market real quick. I think right now we are in this anxiety and denial phase of the Wall Street market psychology. Okay, because when I go on Twitter, all I see is Sandbox undervalued, something undervalued, buy the dip. It's not showing me any type of panic. I don't see people talking about how they lost their.
You don't see capitulation.
I don't see people crying about how they lost their 8-acre metaverse farm because they couldn't pay the yield or whatever how does that work? Whatever the hell. I haven't seen any of that. I still see people buying the dip. uh, looking for value, and it's really not showing capitulation, anger, or depression. People are still very optimistic, which is a good thing long term. People still being optimistic, but short term, we definitely could see some further downside.
Yeah, we will see some further downside. I think the NFT market kind of held up really well.
Me too.
Surprise, really, we could say 2 years if we want to be generous. Really, I want to say probably the last like 16, 18 months, though, we really saw the boom NFT market, right? But if you compare the NFT market to the DeFi market got demolished. A lot of companies are no longer operating and no longer in business. A lot of DeFi spaces are totally gone
The cleansing.
already. And I think the NFT space held up fairly well. I think a lot of the popular projects, were very well done. And here's what I want everybody to understand, right? Cryptocurrency is so transparent that, like, even if you are doing fraudulent shit, you're only going to be able to operate in that fraudulent scale for so long because the blockchain technology demands that the answer be correct, right?
Mm,
So like you can't have all of that fraudulent stuff on your books and on your chain because the transactions won't line up and your blockchains and your chains won't work. So that's a thing that we're seeing right now is all of the fraudulent companies, all of the scams, and all of the people that was double dipping in the DeFi space and in the NFT space. A lot of their companies and cryptos are crashing and literally being liquidated because with cryptocurrency and the blockchain, the bill always comes due, and that's the benefit that we have with it being so transparent. So we should probably be, for those who lost money, I feel for you, but it's good to have this sort of cleansing of the market because there was like I think early 2022 we had almost 6,000 cryptocurrencies registered and like operating. A lot of people was getting chewed up in the market. So like I said, I think it's a good healthy thing for the market so we see this correction. And I think we'll see a lot more companies probably disappear. But we'll see the cream rise to the crop, and you'll know because your portfolio will tell you.
absolutely. Not only will companies disappear, you'll see entire coins disappear. Anybody heard of Luna?
Yeah.
So be very careful and mindful what you're investing in. Don't invest in something just because it's 80% down from the all-time highs. It can still fall another 99%.
You
Okay.
absolutely can.
It
It
can still
absolutely
fall.
can.
So invest in quality, invest in the future. Okay. Invest in things that you see other companies, large mega cap companies investing in, not some random metaverse chain that your cousin made. Like, seriously, look into what you're investing. Make sure you actually own it as well. Because I've heard of a lot of things people saying they're buying land and they look down into the fine print. It's not really even theirs.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's something I'm very mindful of. Can you let the people know where they can find you?
Yeah. MJ Trades. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter. I have a Discord as well. If you're interested in hopping in our Discord, it's free. Edge Out Trading at edgeouttrading.eth, the Ethereum domain name. I'm big in the crypto space with like kind of walking the talk and talking the talk. I am, on the blockchain. I'm trying to put my company, run it 100% on the blockchain.
Beautiful.
So yeah, edgeouttrading.eth, man. Keep it simple. Y'all can go look at my holdings in Ethereum. You won't find nothing but some NFTs. I keep my cash offline, or my Ethereum, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, Edge Out Trading on IG, on Twitter, not on Facebook. I'm about to do the TikTok thing, man. I gotta get up to the TikTok thing, but I'm primarily on IG or Twitter. Y'all can hit me on either one of them. And man, hopefully me and my guy, we can hop on and do this again sometimes, man. I
Oh yeah,
appreciate it, dude. Good job, bro.
absolutely.
Glad you grabbed me, man. I'm a fan of your work, bro. I love how you be doing things, man. I love
Thank
how
you.
your brain works and how you be,
Thank you.
you know. I know
Thank
it's
you.
look keeping it close to the chest, but you do be killing it, bro.
Yeah, man. Yo, if the KGB come knocking on your door, tell them I made you say it. All right.
All right, man.
Tell them I made you say it, bro.
All
Hey
right,
man,
man.
this has been the Financial Conspirator. Y'all tap in, like and subscribe, do all that fancy stuff. Peace out, fam.
Thanks.